Good morning. It is Sunday, the 20th of October, 2019. We're going to start off looking at a perspective shift, and then we're going to jump right into Bitcoin to see if this new Ichimoku Cloud reversal is actually unfolding. Let me start off by going through the disclaimer to say this isn't trading advice, even though we're talking about really specific chart patterns. It's just market observation. To get the whole trading advice thing, head over to the website and grab our training. The theme today is perspective shift. Look at this. I was up late last night looking at optical illusion pictures. You never know where the internet is going to be taking you one day. And I was checking out this image and I was checking out this one and I still can't get it. My brain just doesn't wrap around this image at all. The shadow in that image and everything is just perfect. It's such a perfect illusion. I don't get it. And this illusion too, I wanted to bring up and point out because I see a lot of technical analysis like this way, where we're each looking at the same pattern, but we're seeing different things in it. So this is one of the reasons I try to go through their basic trading plan over and over, and then review it against these different indicators to get a different perspective. So the theme today, well, the headline today is the Ichimoku making a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation on this time frame and breaking up above the cloud, giving us a bull signal? I'll clear this off and zoom back a bit because this is the 15-minute time frame, and it's only to verify what you see in a larger time frame do you zoom into this. But here again, we're seeing 3 hits off this bottom, a little 1, 2, 3 here, and some strength. And so I don't see that our chat box along the side is working. I have no idea what makes it work or what makes it not work, but I'm glad to see you guys along. Let's start off the routine. Let's jump into the weekly view of Bitcoin, and we're looking at the relative strength index. So all the way along, we've been watching for this weekly view of the relative strength index to, let me change so that I can expand this. Turn that music off. So our weekly RSI is holding stronger at the end of the week. This is really cool. Now next week when the candle starts again, are we going to go up or are we going to go sideways? I can't draw on this. What have I got? That snap tooth thing still on? I don't know. But the question now, since this week is just finishing, what's going to happen after this? Are we going to get an angle upward? If it starts sloping down and breaks below this parallel line next week, that's continuation of our downtrend. If it holds its bladder and holds itself up this way and starts to continue on, then maybe, if we go to a long-term view, then maybe we could be going through a period like this on our way up. And we'll see more evidence of that. But this is such a key level that if we're breaking below it, we're going down. Let me go back to the chart and zoom in on the RSI because I want to see what's the divergence doing right now at this tip. As we are moving along flat with 3 hits off this bottom, I am definitely having trouble with my drawing today. We're seeing an indicator divergence setting up here. The last few days we've been watching for this divergence to give us an answer one way or the other, and it's just floating sideways. So there are answers, but this is only going to confirm as we're breaking above these levels. Really, if we come off this 1, 2, 3, and it's a bigger 1, 2, 3 times off of that, I want to pay attention, but I only want to pay attention for my own part, and it could be an error in my trading. I don't look to buy at the bottom of these ranges and sell at the top of the range. It's just not the pattern that I look for. I'm such a longer term trader. So that's part of the reason I'm doing this is so that I'm switching my perspective and I'm not arguing for what I've always done, but opening my mind up to approach this in a different way. So if you've been doing a lot of day trading and you're finding it's not successful for you, you may find yourself just do better the way I trade as well, in that it's a lot slower, it's a lot easier, it's more with the trend. It's a lot of study and preparation. You got to be ready all the time, but it's not a lot of day trading. So as I'm zooming in on this now, I see that we've got higher lows stepping up all the way along this level. So this is giving me a bullish view that I've been holding for a bit, just in my larger conspiracy theory that we're probably going to see prices come up here. The longs get super crazy, and then we're going to get a big punishing pullback from there. That's sort of my conspiracy theory. Let's zoom out now to the on balance volume on the weekly view. Selling, selling, selling. Nothing so interesting here. Zoom in, we're seeing a lot of selling, a good dump, and then steady selling going on, and I don't like it. Right? For a bullish view, we had steady buying going on, and then a break higher. Now we've got a flat level and steady selling going on. It seems to me that a break lower might follow along with that, but we really have to see this volume picking up and get us to the positive on balance volume when we're crossing these levels, if the first part of my conspiracy theory can come true. So it's not looking good. From this view, that's not what I'm wanting to see. Oh, but before I can qualify it, actually, yeah, it's not what I'm wanting to see. The only time that we saw this in the weekly view that we actually had negative selling on the uptrend was this one time here, March of 2017. Coincidentally, if we do take off something like that, the alts are potentially going to be doing some big move for a little while if we have the same thing happen as before. So let's really dig in and study this, because that moment in time now has become the only thing in the past that's similar if we're going to continue an uptrend. And I know that if we zoom in on this time frame and then we go back to the uptrend, here we have that dump, but we also have a few other periods that dumped almost as much as we have now. So it's not killer in the uptrend that we have this dumping going on, but I do want to pay attention to the fact that it's completely flipped from what it was, and that makes me pay attention to it. So earlier I was saying that we have some dumping going on here. We have less dumping on this attempt. We have less dumping on this attempt. It just doesn't seem that the bears don't have the strength to push it. But we do have a clear level that if they push it past that, man, we are going. It'll be already done by the time this shows it. Then we're zooming in to see, are we going to be bottoming out here? Is this enough to pick us up? Are we going from negative to positive here just as we're bouncing off these levels? And the Ichimoku is telling us that there is something going on here. I can't wait to get into the Bollinger bands to see what they're telling us. That's new information for me. Perspective shift. 1 hour time frame, buying, less buying. Got to get that buying volume picking up out of here, or we're not taking off this runway. And we better pull back. Okay, now here I'm looking at the weekly and we're looking at the logarithmic view. Let's put it back. And the weekly MACD is crossed to the negative. We have 3. I got to zoom in on that. Oh, okay. I needed to zoom in on this to see what is the relation of these last 3 candles, because they haven't started to go back the other way. We got to have them going back the other way before this can cross positive and catch us and move us back in the uptrend. Sort of like we saw sometimes back here. No, that already caught itself before it crossed negative, and we were watching for that earlier. But there were times when it did cross negative and then crossed positive. It crossed positive, but this was before our trend up in 2017. So we already bottomed, then we crossed positive, had a bit of a dip, and then we took off. So we are not looking the same as we were in March of 2015. Instead, we are still back here. We're still gaining on this. So I got to compulsively look at the chart at this time. Not bad. Not bad. So we could be here with this, if we're looking at this, comparing the histograms. So then we need to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of sideways action here before we're going to be taking off. So 2 months of really dreary watching the charts. Let's zoom in on this and see how close we are, because we should see this unfolding on the closer time frames first. And I know if I went back into those charts in the earlier time frame and we watched as that weekly MACD unfolded through those 8 weeks we just counted out, I'm certain that we would be able to watch, and I'll do that in a different episode. We'll look at what did the MACD daily do during those 2 months. There, I got it out. Cross to the positive here, almost crossing to the negative. Almost crossing to the negative, but we do have this histogram easing off, losing momentum, right? If it starts to grow back the other way and this flares positive, that will support what the Ichimoku Cloud is telling us right now. Let's zoom into the 12-hour time frame. That's not helping. That's still crossed to the negative here as we're going through this area. That's not doing it. It could cross positive. It's very close together. Let's zoom into the 4-hour because that's going to start giving us the inside view. The 4-hour has already crossed to the positive inside this 1, 2, 3. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, and it'll only be proven when it breaks above these levels, then we have the 4-hour cross at the number, well, pretty much the number 1 point here. Common to see that at the 1, 2, 3, we'll have the 4-hour cross in between the 1, 2, and the 3. Earlier in this 1, 2, 3 formation setup, we've already been told by the MACD. So now, is the MACD already telling us that this is going up? We'll find out in a few days, and then we'll look back and say, yeah, it already told us. And we actually had a specific moment when the 12-hour verified it, and it matched up with all our other indicators. So here is Ichimoku Cloud. Now I'm going to zoom out on this one, and I'm going to go to the logarithmic view, because this is a little bit different. And if we start coming back into this level, man, this is the buy signal in the Ichimoku uptrend. And there's only one time we've come through the cloud before and come back. We stayed above it all the way along. So if we're going to stay above this cloud, this is really important to pay attention to now. It's a different looking cloud in the log view, just mostly because you can see it actually. It's the same cut through here where it, what's this? Okay. This is where our MACD was giving us signals that we are looking similar to this, with the MACD on the weekly coming down to cross. And we have those 8 weeks of pain, of suffering, of wondering, of anticipation right now. And that would do it too. 8 weeks would bring us straight over to touching this. 8 weeks would be bringing us tantalizingly higher to this before the breakout. Let's see. Because for that to manifest, we have to cut through on the daily. And I was noticing this morning going, wow, that's kind of gone wider. Is that meaning that it's just about to like collapse and cascade lower? Oh, don't know. Each time it went the other way, it's not good. Except that this went really skinny right there. Eh? This is really wide. All right. Let's unfold this, and it just only takes time to unfold it. Let's zoom into the 12-hour time frame, because this is what I'm looking for, the sell signal in the downtrend, right? Coming up to bounce off this, and the blue line is below the red. Yeah, that's a sell signal in downtrend. This is a thick cloud too. So if this thins out and we're on the edge, and we know it, we're on the edge. We've been watching for this and calling this as a sell signal because the 4-hour Ichimoku crossed to the negative. But now we're combining it with this 3 touches of death, which I've noticed so many different times in my failing trades, where I'm anticipating this to continue breaking out in the direction of these 3 touches. And I get my positions all ready, and then it goes the other way. Over and over again, it's one of my places where I lose, or I do poorly on these trades. But usually when it's upside down and it's a breakout of a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, this is when I fail. So now that it's breakout of a downward, I want to watch for this trend line to break and this little setup to be something. So I am putting my own bias into it from observing my own mistakes in the past. So let's go into the 1-hour time frame. It's finally starting to come around to my bias, where we have a cross to the positive, not enough of a cross to the positive here, right? The blue's got to be above the red. The trailing green indicator line has to cut through everything. The price has, It's got some juice. It needs some of that volume that we're not seeing yet. Let's zoom in, and it's the 15-minute time frame that this morning I was watching because let's see, I went to bed, Bitcoin did nothing, I got up, I sat at the computer, and it started to take off, and I was going, hey, wow, you just waited for me. And then I started noticing it's going through the Ichimoku Cloud. We've got a cut through of everything. The blue is crossed above the red. That's what it is. So it's wicked back a little bit. We'll see how it unfolds. Now, the main thing I want to see that's new to me is the weekly view of the I got to write it down so that I look at it. Bollinger Band. I see the picture in my mind, and the name is difficult to pull out when I want. All right, so Bollinger Band, and we're looking at the logarithmic view. In this, I was really amazed to see how this went wide just before we continued going up, and we just had a big pouch set up here. So if we are similar to this pattern according to the MACD and according to the Ichimoku Cloud, cutting through the cloud, right? There's two different ways we went through on the weekly. Then this neck that we're in right now becomes really important. And it's not as thin as these other necks were, right? It's coming up, and in the next 2 months, this weekly neck should get really thin as we're pushing up to the midline of that neck. I know it's impossible to see now, but as we've got to get above the midline of the neck, first of all, and the neck has got to get skinny. And we are below the midline of the neck. So this doesn't match up to the earth. Like we're not in the uptrend in the same way that we were here. That just kicked us out. As soon as I noticed that we're that much below, that kicks us into a whole different category of conversation. So we got to pull our socks up above this bottom if we're going to be stopping ourselves from going in a further downtrend. So now I've got to draw my trend line because this is the one that I've been studying now for a while. This long-term trend line in the weekly view of the prices on the logarithmic view. So then we see this trend line poking up here. That kind of gives me the general idea that this middle trend line probably must do something like this. Really? I don't, before this can skinny up. Who knows? Let's see how this goes. I just am making this up. 1 day time frame. It is skinny, but we're to the negative side, right? It's underneath. So there has been times before it's been a skinny thing and it's down below. 3 hits off this bottom is what's getting me. So adding this together with my trading signals here, that this should go considerably wider as we're breaking down from here, or we're going to be going up through that on the shorter time frames. 4-hour time frame. So now we're bounced twice off this within our larger 1, 2, 3. It's got the 1, 2, 3 pattern, and it's touched both ends. I don't know, but if it is continuing to cross above this, that adds on to my verification. This gives me enough of an bias that I would take a position on that. So first, it's got to break above it here. 4-hour time frame. What are we doing in the 1-hour time frame? Bottomed. So again, breaking above this level is it, right? Everything is showing us that this level is a place to pay attention to, take an action on. Zoom in, 15-minute time frame. Bounced off the bottom. It's going wider, and we're above the center line. So this is confirming again for me as well. Since it's hesitating, maybe I could slip in there with a limit order, and I'm not going to be taking any taker fees. I want to be paid maker fees if I'm doing leverage trading on this. Awesome. Now, let's finish up with some scary stuff. Bitcoin dominance rising. As Bitcoin is rising, that's going to flatten all of our alts. So we've seen this pattern occur just recently in this, and that's why it's come to my attention. Is we saw the support and resistance, and more than just the support and resistance, we see 1, 2, 3 touches of death. We see support and resistance, and we see 1, 2, little wee 3 touches. If this goes up, man, that just confirms it's another 3 touches of death pattern in the trend where I'm expecting it to go in my direction. So I really have lost a lot of money on this trade formation. And so I don't want to lose money again. And as I go through the bull market watch, the patron bull market watch spreadsheet, this is giving us very specific examples of what to get into and what to get out of. And we can see by this chart pattern, once you know what you're looking at in this chart, it's really informative. So instead of just looking at Bitcoin dominance that says, okay, we have a top formation here and alt prices are probably going to going up, but which ones? On average, they are all going up, but the low cap coins, the high cap, which coins are actually going up? This spreadsheet gives us more detail. It shows us which ones are in neutral stance in between our 1, 2, 3 bottom, which ones are in alert stance, the yellow, which ones are in hold stance, the green, and the scary ones are the blue. That's things getting out of hold stance. Every blue one here is like, okay, we got in, but we have to get out. And we can see we were at 79 hold stance coins, and now we're at 38. So the market itself is telling us which ones to ease back on and which ones to hold on to. And as we see this orange line increasing, that means more and more markets are nearly failing the recent bottoms and they're almost going lower to new lows. That's when we have the bear market continuing, and we're not just floating sideways anymore. Now we're continuing down further. So when we see the progression of this going from green and the yellows dropping off, the yellows have turned back into neutral. We see the greens flipping past blue and then jumping into neutral. Then we see the neutrals dropping off and the near fails picking up. Okay, now we're heading into more bear territory for our alts. And so we can go over to the Binance data right at the end. So this isn't showing the specific information about which coins. You can become a subscriber and get to see exactly which coins should be in your portfolio. You can see it. It's a simple, fast, clear way to see which coins should be in your portfolio and which ones you should be unfolding, which ones you should exit in. So it's knowledge that you can apply. It follows along with what we're doing in these live streams, and it saves you loads of time studying all of this stuff. So then you can see as we're going from hold status coins, look at this, 14 exits, 11 exit coins, 17 exit coins. These are coins that showed us a little bit of profit already, and they're topping out and they're telling us to step back and review it. It could be going sideways for months. It could be going down from here. So to see this bearish start to happen, and that we're going away from, we've got fewer alerts, even looking like they're going to be breaking out, more ambiguous coins in the neutral. We're starting to get more into the near fail. If this picks up, we know that we're going down further in the alts and that Bitcoin is going up. Bitcoin dominance is going to be crushing us again. And it's much better to have your money in Bitcoin if that's going to be the case. So I think it's the most valuable tool I can possibly give you, much more than these live streams. And I hope a bunch of you take advantage of it. We're looking to get 200 or 300 people joining us, changing your perspective and taking a new route into your trading. All right, let's go over to the chat. I haven't looked at all. And the damn thing still is not loading up on the live stream. I just don't get it. So, good morning, Celil. Good to have you along. Errol, good to have you again. Dan, good to have you back. Hey, Peter, it's been a while. Good to see you. LBGer, good to have you here. Sunday morning, 5 o'clock. Coffee is good, I'll tell you. Was, good morning. Thanks again for the great info. I appreciate having you guys along. It keeps me researching more deeply. And the more people we have helping us develop this bull market watch spreadsheet, the more powerful it's going to be for every one of us in this. You get email alerts every day. You get a short little email that sends you this panel. And it tells you how many alerts we have, how many exits we have. Then you can come here to the spreadsheet and see exactly which coins are on exit status today. Oh, shit. You can go over to your portfolio, look at the charts. Should I just ease back on this, or should I just take my profit and get out of this top formation in the altcoin? I don't know. You decide. But I think this information, it's the most valuable thing for me. I get up and I start here every day. So it's not a sales pitch, but you should come over and join and buy. Anyway, I will leave you guys now. Come and join us on Discord because we'll monitor this throughout the day. As this unfolds, we're going to talk about what's going on with the RSI. We're going to monitor it. What's going on with the on-balance volume as stuff happens? Is this crossing? As it does, that'll be in our Discord chat. As this is breaking or folding, we're going to talk about it and be specific about it. So come and join us. Go to the website, take the free training, come and join us as a patron subscriber over on the website and grab this altcoin information. I will leave you guys for now and wish you all the best in your trading today. Cheers.